Man, we got away with that one. And
I saw more than enough in that Southampton game. And I think if Brighton turn up and play in the way that they have done it at times this season, they've got a great record, a recent record at Old Trafford anyway. If they play anything like their best at Old Trafford on Sunday, Man United are going to really, really struggle, because United at the moment look like a team who are a little bit lost. They're struggling to come to terms with what Ruben Amorim is asking of them. That's not necessarily their fault. They haven't had an awful lot of time on the training pitch to learn Amorim's methods. He's kind of learning on the job a little bit, so maybe it's understandable that they're struggling a little bit. But if Brighton watch that game against Southampton, they will head to Old Trafford on Sunday thinking that they can win and win handsomely. United really got away with one against Southampton.
Almost for the game against Southampton, and I've got to say, Man U were absolutely shocking. I thought they were abysmal. There was talk when we were chatting about the spirit was back when they got a draw at Anfield, and they were down to 10 men against Arsenal in the FA Cup, and they went through there, and it looked like the spirit was back. But the boys will know what I'm saying when I say it's easy to play, or easier to play in those games at Anfield, because you're under no pressure. You can bank in low blocks, and if you get a draw or get a win, you come out of it with loads of credit. And they got a draw and they played well. Then they went to Arsenal with the 10 men and they got through and performed well. But the game against Southampton, there were 82 minutes at 1-0 down, and they were all over the place. The midfield was non-existent. They couldn't run. Amorim's playing players completely out of position. Sulemana played, who's only a kid, who's one of the best players on the pitch. Tyler Diblin's 18, one of the best players on the pitch for Southampton. And it was just, we were chatting about the passion and the intensity's back, but forget that for a second. Southampton rocked up and outplayed Man United at Old Trafford for a team that's got 6 points. And they were incredible in the context of the game when, you see the 3-1, it looks like an easy win, but far from it, apart from Ahmad, who was brilliant for the whole of the game and has been under Ten Hag and Amorim, and he got his hat-trick. But apart from that, apart from him and Onana, I must mention Onana, who was brilliant, who kept them in the game, because it should have been 2 or 3 down at half-time. There wasn't any Man United players coming out of that game against Southampton.
Yes, but I'm curious as to this Manchester United players following the Southampton performance. If they go in the locker room thinking, yeah, well, we got that, we deserve that, we deserve those 3 points, or do they go in the locker room and go, whoo, man, we got away with that one. And that, I think, will go a long way in determining what their short-term and long-term success will be, and recognizing that there are things to be done in order for this team to be better. That the job is not done because you drew against Liverpool, or you drew against Arsenal, or somehow back your way into a win against Southampton, that there's still a lot of work to be done. Now, what the result does for Manchester United, the actual 3 points, is that it may mask a bad performance, but it also elevates the confidence. It's a whole lot better to show up in the training facility after you have won, even though you got away with it, because you can fool yourself into believing, hey, we got something going here. We're feeling better about ourselves. And so that's why I don't go as far as Xhaka, as Rob, and saying that they're going to lose. They'll get something out of this game, 2-2 draw.
Frank, you think they'll get something out of it as well?
Yes, I put a draw because, as Ali mentioned, when you go back into the dressing room and you're a Manchester United player right now, you're going to say, well, you know what? People are going to start seeing that we are very bad. They're going to start saying it's not about the coach, it's not about the new coach, it's not about the former coach and the former one. They might see that it's about us. So I'm expecting a reaction, because that's very bad. And you are wearing a shirt who has a hell of a history, so you have to react, and very quickly, because otherwise the guys who made the recruitment has to be sacked. I would say 80% of the team, the squad, has to get out, which is going to be impossible. But really, it's very worrying what we are right now seeing, because they're not good at all. They're not a team. They don't fight together. They are fighting against big teams, but against Southampton, I had the chance to see that game too, and that wasn't good.
Rob, let me get to you though, because Southampton game aside, you obviously keep a close eye on Manchester United. Have you seen progress under Amorim?
Not consistently, and I think that is partly down to the situation that he's inherited. I've said before that he's got no time at all on the training pitch. He's been parachuted into a really difficult job mid-season. He's trying to change the system. You know, that this is a squad that was built for 4-3-3 under Erik ten Hag. He wants to play with 3 at the back and that 3-4-3. He hasn't really got the players to do it. He hasn't got wing backs. He hasn't really got inside forwards. At the moment, he's just making the best of a bad situation. And it was interesting after the Southampton game that I asked him what the rest of this season looks like for Man United, and he said it's going to be a roller coaster. He can't promise that there's going to be any kind of consistency between now and the summer because he knows how difficult that's going to be. And at the moment, I don't think that he will admit it explicitly, but I think that if he could click his fingers and have the rest of this season disappear, he would do it in a heartbeat. He wants to get to the summer. He wants his own players in. He wants new signings, and he wants time on the training pitch with his squad. Until he can have that, I think it's going to be a real struggle between now and the end of the season.